Today's question comes from Catherine in Florida. She writes, I'm a long-time follower of your baby step program, and I enjoy catching up on your radio show on YouTube. That sentence did not exist a few years ago. My question is about how to deal with family members' opinions on living below your means, driving an older car, having older electronics, a small apartment, etc. I lived in a studio apartment while I was in college. After graduation, I landed a great job working at an investment advisory firm and moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. We both work remotely and use the second bedroom as an office. Recently, my roommate's aunt stopped by to see the new apartment and commented that it was small. I didn't say anything to her, but inside I felt terrible. A 2-bedroom apartment was an upgrade for me in terms of space, and with the increase in my income and shared expenses, I was spending less money than I was when I was a student. I know we can't control what others say, and they are definitely entitled to their opinions. I also don't want to imply that their aunt is judgmental. Well, she is. I just want to know how I can control that inner voice that felt embarrassed when someone didn't understand why I live the way that I do. Ooh, that's a great question. I find, Dave, when I have not spent some time making sure my values are anchored into an identity, other people can I can try things like a new workout, like a new diet plan or something, and somebody will just casually dismiss it, and it will affect me. But when I have made a choice, I'm a guy who, fill in the blank, takes my kid to Waffle House. Waffle House is probably not the healthiest choice for us, but that's where we go. And I love it, and I won't miss it. And so it doesn't even enter my mind when somebody makes a comment about, oh, that's not healthy. Like, because I'm so anchored into that as a thing, or someone dismisses my faith out of hand. Like I don't lose a second of sleep over that because it's an anchor point to me. I've connected my values with my identity. It feels like if you're trying something on, it's a recipe for somebody can speak into it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head here. So push back if that doesn't sound right.
Godliness with contentment is great gain. And so if you are content, and this is your decision, you have peace sitting in the decision, and that's an identity.
That's a much less nerdy way to say that.
But I mean,
I just said.
You're sitting in your identity.
Yeah.
And then, you're okay if, the aunt wants to get her bigger apartment. That's her choice, but this is what I wanted, and it's me. You think, I have a black pickup truck. You think black pickup trucks are ugly? Well, that's okay. I'm really comfortable. I picked that truck. I like it. And so, I don't really give a rip what you think.
The verbiage for me changed back when, and you and I have talked about this quite a bit, with the phrase, you don't get a vote.
Yeah.
And so really sitting down and deciding, being intentional in my life, who are the people who do get a vote?
Yeah.
My wife, a couple of close, it's a very, very small list when it comes to, I want to challenge your value.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, like you said, how anchored are you in this? Because it's a great discussion. That's why we're having it. But if you're anchored in it and you really believe it, then you wouldn't be embarrassed.
Yeah, if somebody came by and goes, this guy is green, right?
If they're actually right when they bring something up and you're not that anchored in it, then it would throw you off.
Absolutely.
It's like, do you live in a dump? If you do, maybe she's telling you need to upgrade, that may be what's going on. But if you just are completely comfortable with that, yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's how far you're anchored into it. I got into this thing this morning. I was at another event, and I was one of the speakers, and I ended up back in the green room with a bunch of these guys that were intellectuals, which is always fun for me because I'm a wiener in a steakhouse. And so this guy is throwing out, this verbiage, and he's like, yes, but what about arbitraging? And if you pay off your 2.5% mortgage and all this, and I finally looked at him, I said, dude, I think you need to keep your mortgage. But you asked me what I thought, and I own several $100 million worth of real estate, debt-free, and when COVID hit, I wasn't worried about payments. So that's how I live. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. But, even though you're a bazillion times smarter than me, I got more real estate than you do.
Ta-da!
I mean, it's, and it's all paid for.
The real question is, can you kick my...
It's just, I mean, it's kind of that, okay, I get it. But did you really think you were going to have a discussion with Dave Ramsey in the green room and talk him into going into debt?
And you were going to sit back and go,
was there any level?
I never thought of it. No way.
I mean, intellectually, I found someone who was smart enough that got me on this.
No way.
After 30 years, you're kidding. And I'm just like, oh, I mean, whatever you want to do, dude, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. I love you. You can go get in debt if you want. But as for me and my house, we're pretty anchored in this one. Pretty much an identity thing.
Yeah, so I would go back to Catherine and say, why are you choosing this life?
Yeah.
Well, I want to live below my means. And okay, great. Then other people don't get a vote.
Everything that she said was joyful.
Absolutely.
Until the aunt showed up.
Mm-hmm. That aunt didn't get a vote.
Yeah. And so she didn't get a vote. That's all it is. It's
And that's something you practice. That's easier said than done.
It is. And the other thing is this. It's a perspective thing. It goes with contentment. So the thing I always remember is this. I have the inordinate benefit of having gone completely broke. And once you've gone completely broke, you really don't care what other people think because you figure out most of them aren't going to be around anyway.
It's like watching a fighter that's been knocked out. They're a little wilder the next time because that's what happens.
Oh, that's how it works. I didn't die from it.
Now I can be a little bit more relentless.
I'm gonna lean in here, and I love folk, and I want you to win, and I want to help you, but I'm not really taking a poll. Before I make a decision on stuff. I lost what the Bible calls fear of man. I don't need affirmation to make good quality value-based decisions. I make those decisions regardless. And if I get some affirmation, that's wonderful. I'm like anybody else. I like it, but I don't have to have that to do anything. And honestly, when some of you get pissed off, it kind of inspires me. So, it causes me to go to double down, so, and because I found that most of you are that wrong. And so that's why we do this show for 30 years is to help you, and so, yeah, I think there's a lot of that going on in the contentment thing contentment is, do I have peace? Am I anchored in this with a part of my identity? And how much affirmation do I need to support my values-based decisions? And the less of that you need, the better financial decisions you're going to make.
All day, every day.
Because most people are broke, and if your broke friends are making fun of your financial plan, you are right on track.
Well, and the better parenting decisions you'll make, I don't want my kid to be the only kid with 3-year-old without their own iPad. Be the only one. I don't want my kid to be the only. You're going to make better parenting, better marriage decisions. You make every decision will be better when you identify who gets a vote and who doesn't, and when you identify that identity and what it's anchored into, man.